How I Met My Husband, Dreams Do Come True. How I Met My Husband, Dreams Do Come True. Hello, you all. I'm Diana Brienne. Well, you all know I love to share little stories, and they're stories from my life, and they're true stories. And so this one is How I Met My Husband. Well, I believe in divine timing, divine connections. I believe in that, and a divine destiny. And I believe that sometimes there's people that we are meant to connect with. Our souls immediately recognize the other person. One soul recognizes the other soul. They may not consciously understand it, but their soul understands it. They're part of the puzzle. Well, that's how I feel was with my husband and I. And so, long story short, I'll give you the short version of the story. This is almost 30 years ago that this took place. I was working at a job that I absolutely loved. And that was a miracle in how I got that job too. That was divine timing and divine connections and everything that led up to me getting that job was just, all the divine hand of God. And about a year into me working on that particular job, I had woke up on one morning, and I overwhelmingly knew that I was going to meet my husband that day. And it was just, I say it was the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God, that was telling me that. And so I got up out of bed with this overpowering, overwhelming feeling that could just practically knock me over, is how strong it was. And I decided to go to the gym because I worked out. I've been working out forever. I still work out every day to this day. And I was on my way to the gym, and as I was driving down the road, I kept looking for my husband. I just kept looking over at people walking, whatever, and I knew it wasn't any of them. And I got to the gym, and I could feel the presence of this man, this man around me who was my husband. But of course, it wasn't any of the people in the gym. I went to get something to eat after at Del Taco, because this is in California. And as I'm standing in line, I saw three really attractive men, but I knew it wasn't any of them. And so I thought, gosh, I must absolutely be crazy. This is just something my mind has fabricated. So I went to work that night. I had a date waiting for me after I got off of work. We were going out. And so I was getting ready. I got off a little bit early. I was getting ready to leave. And before I got ready to leave, in walks this man with another man. And I knew right away that this man was going to be my husband. We didn't talk but more than a couple moments. Somehow he got my telephone number. I can't remember how I gave it to him, but I don't remember why I gave it to him, but I gave it to him. But we really didn't talk much. And so the next morning he called me up. I went on with my date, saw my date that night, and the next morning he called me up at 7 o'clock in the morning. He's an early riser, and I wasn't. And he said, I just want to tell you this, you're going to be my wife. And I said, yes, I know that, but call me back in 3 hours. I'm still sleeping. And that's the truth. He called back in 3 hours. We talked for probably 3 hours. I couldn't see him that day because I had a date. And so I saw him the next morning, and we went to the gym together. I picked him up. We went to the gym together. And how he ended up there, he wasn't even from there. His plane had broken down, and they detoured him there for 3 days. And it was right around Christmas time. And we spent the next 3 days just going to movies and talking, and we just knew. Well, he went off. He had to go overseas, and he went overseas. And when he was in Ireland on Christmas morning, because he left on Christmas Eve morning, he called me, and he called me from Ireland, and he said, you're going to be my wife, and I hope someday you and I will get to share this experience of Ireland together. And of course, fast forward quite a few years later, we did end up going to Ireland and that spot where he called me from, just like he said. And that was magical, magical in itself. But anyhow, when he came back, we did a 2-week car trip. Now, anybody that can spend time in a car for 2 weeks, I mean, that's incredible. So we did a 2-week car trip. We went, all over California, Nevada, and we went to all the sightseeing places, and we had this incredible time. But then he had to go back home, and he lived across country. And I had been in California for quite a few years. I loved my job. I had a wonderful life there, but I was willing to give it up. 2 weeks after he left, I stepped on the plane in faith that I was doing the right thing, and I went to where he was, which is now 30 miles from where we presently live. And so periodically I go back and drive past our old house and memory lane. And so I came and we were married shortly thereafter. And that's been almost 30 years ago. And it was the best decision I ever made. 3 children later, and a lot of wonderful, wonderful, amazing experiences. Living in Europe was wonderful. Motorhome trips with our children when they were little. Just so many wonderful, wonderful memories and trips and dreams. And it was a dream come true, another dream come true story. But, I had that overwhelming sense that I was going to meet my husband that morning or that day. And I had it from the time I woke up. And so I do believe in that power of knowing. And that is exactly what I knew. And I've had that more times than once in my life. But that's a very significant time. And I remember during that time I went back to work, and he had already come back east to live. And in that 2-week period, and I was missing him so much. And my boss turned to me and she called me Brianne, because my name is Diana Brianne. And she called me Brianne, and she said, "Brianne, dreams do come true." And I always, always remember that. And he was my dream. And that dream came true. So always keep in mind that dreams do come true in life. And so always believe, okay? Well, I hope you enjoyed my story. And I hope you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I hope to talk to you all soon again. From my house to yours, God bless you. And I hope to talk to you then. Bye-bye.